What is up, Fightful Faithful? Welcome back to another interview here on Fightful Overbooked. Today I am here with Progress Women's World Champion Rhio. How are you doing today, Rhio?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, how about yourself?
I'm good, thank you very much. And we get straight into it. So this weekend, the Super Strong Style 16, you are going to be defending the Progress Women's World title. And it's going to be a first time ever matchup as you will be defending in a ladder match. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you're feeling heading into first time ever matchup as the champion?
To be honest, I think at this point in my career, I'm probably a little bit more calmer than I would usually be, but I'm still not. I'm not calm, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I have a level of calmness. It's I've done kind of similar matches. I had a ladder match probably a year and a half into my training and stuff like that, like when I was on shows. So I think I've had a ladder match before, so I think that gives me the little bit of confidence that I know what I'm going into. And I think with everything else that I've done during my career, I've had a lot of no disqualifications, last woman standing, thrown off a balcony. So, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
sure it can't get much worse than that. So I think that keeps me a little bit more calm.
And you've been Progress Women's World Champion for a little while now, and I'm just wondering how you're feeling at this point in your reign.
To be honest, I'm happy, but I feel this match needs to happen so I can get rid of any dead weight that's following me. Because
Yeah.
I feel like since becoming champion, I've not had an opportunity to have a match without somebody one person or another comes out and they either take the ref out or they take me out or they take my opponent out. And I get it's mind games. I understand what's happening, but I'm sick of it now. At this point, I just want to have matches with people and they're not getting interrupted. So I think having the match with three people at the same time that feel they're the entitled one, they should be number one contender. I hope after this, that's it then, and I can just go to having a normal singles match. And I don't know. I think I need to put forward to Progress that after this as well, maybe to make it clear, there needs to be another women's tournament, because I know it's obviously Super Strong Style this weekend, and we've had the past men's tournament, so I think that it's the women's turn now. I think they need another tournament, and then we can have a clear cut number one contender. There's no arguments, there's no discussions, there's no grey areas, and then I can get on with my life then. Progress.
And you did win the championship under, let's say, circumstances that opened you up to a little bit of criticism because you did be a weakened champion in Lana Austin, but you have beat Lana in the following months as well. So how does it feel to kind of get that win over Lana in a definitive setting?
It feels good to know that I've got it, but see, this is what bothers me with some of the fans that say these things, right? So they'll go, well, it's a bit of a grey area whether you actually won. Well, it's not, because I beat Lana Austin in the Revelations of Divine Love tournament, which then had me go on. Or was it that one, or was it the one before that? Because I've won both. No, it's the Revelations. Because when you've won both of them, it's a bit difficult.
Yeah.
No, the Revelations of Divine Love tournament, I beat Lana Austin in that. So I beat her before that, and I beat her afterwards. So I beat her in 2 single matches at Progress. And everyone knows that's the name of the game with the key. The whether people can deem you good, bad, whatever they want to do. I'm smart. And nobody bats an eyelid when she's got about 3 people stood behind her. They don't question her then. They question me for taking my time when it was the right time and when it was the smart time. But then they don't say anything when she's got 3 people stood blocking her the whole year. I chased her for over a year for that. And I had to wait to make sure that she didn't have LAE or Rob or whoever she wants to bring with her. So it does do my head in when they say that, because I'm like, that is the whole point of the key. That is, with WWE, that's the point of Money in the Bank. That's the point of the briefcase. If that would make me a bit of a stupid wrestler if I'm going to go up to the champion at optimum health, the fresh as anything, and go, cash in that. That doesn't make any sense.
I agree with you. I'm just asking the question here. I'm just asking the question that the fans want me to ask. That's all. Don't shoot the messenger here. But you do, the match is a big one, and especially because with Nina Samuels, and Nina has kind of become this almost phenom on the independent circuit because she just has so many championships at the moment, and she's very determined on adding the Progress Women's World Title to that. Do you ever have aspirations to go on a kind of a tour like Nina and just win as many titles as possible? Because it is a crazy image to see Nina with all those titles.
Yes and no. I think yes, because like when you're looking at it, it does look sick, doesn't it? She's there with all of her championships, and I don't question that she deserves them. She is an incredible athlete, but she's not adding mine to that. I can tell you that categorically, that 100%. But I think what I realize is what comes with the championship, like just the Progress one alone, has given me so much grief. I don't know if I'd want that times 10 or that times whatever, with my ICW one, I got thrown off a balcony. With the Progress one, I'm about to probably get thrown off a ladder, I imagine, because that's going to be, if them three aren't already planning that, then I'll be surprised. Even Kanji, I reckon, will just lob me off the ladder for sake of it, because they want the championship, so I could get it, but yeah, the target's big on your back when you're the champion, and if you're a multiple champion, then from one end of the UK to the other, you've got people chasing you. I don't know, because there's only so much that you can give to each championship before it takes a toll on you physically, and I don't know. I think that'll come and catch up with Nina Samuels one day or another. It's coming, so she needs to be careful.
And the ladder match coming up, I know you've had matches like that in the past, and you said that you're not really nervous about it, but even with stipulation matches like that, even with the experience you have, you still sometimes dread the bumps, the big falls and so on, or is it kind of got to a point where you're like, here we go again?
I think it's a bit of both. I think with the fact that there's three of them makes it work, because it's bad enough having one person literally trying to throw you off a 10-foot ladder or whatever size ladder, that's bad enough. But when there's three different people with the same intent, and I always feel like, looking at this situation, me being the champion, if anyone is going to get thrown off, it's me. I mean, I know like everyone's going for the championship, so it's whoever's at the top of the ladder trying to grab it. But I feel like there's an extra bit. I feel there's an extra bounty on my head, extra points if it's me in particular that gets thrown off, So in that respect, I am like a bit more like, ooh, no. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see who they're all going to go for. But at the same time, I don't see any of them three. Like, Kanji said she wanted to elevate the championship higher than it's ever been. I've been higher. Like, again, for the trouble it got me into, not like it was my fault, but the balcony dive, I've done things. I've been thrown off a balcony, I still survived. So like, I know that I have that in me to survive. They can throw me off it all they want, but it's not going to stop me. But with them, I don't know if they can hack that. It's not for everyone. This it's getting thrown off high heights life, and I don't even know if it's for me really, but I'm still here, so.
And you did mention possibly another tournament to crown a new number one contender after. I know there is women's tournaments in progress and so on, but do you think next year could be time for a Super Strong Style 16 women's tournament?
Absolutely. I think I'm going to push for that myself. I think like the work of a champion, this is where I think it's important to have a champion. So this is like my goal, as well as retaining as much as I can and everything like that's going to be my goal to get it, because I think the women deserve it. And it's not a cliche of, the women deserve it because of we're in 2024 and soon to be in 2025 and all that lot. Like, it's not going to be one of them. It's going to be a case of look at the women on the scene. Like, the work they put in, the newer girls, the girls that have been around for long, like, we are just like, I think it's just probably the strongest it's been for a while. And I'm just talking about the women in particular there. I think collectively, when you look from Scotland, when you're looking at Wales, you're looking at England, obviously, and then even further afield, you start looking at Ireland as well. The girls are really, really coming up quick. And I think I can't see a problem of finding 16 progress-worthy girls or championship number one contender-worthy women to go for it. So I absolutely think that there's no reason they can't, and I think we should. So I think when you especially, and props to Alexis Falcon and Nina Samuels last year, their match was one of the most talked about matches throughout Super Strong Style 16. The Clock Strikes Midnight match, and it was the first of its kind. And a history-making match, and then here we go again. It's the women again. It's the only women's match of the weekend. So, and we're going to go and steal the show because we deserve to have something like that as well. So absolutely, I will be pushing for that.
And you've been, even as Progress Women's World Champion, you've been wrestling kind of everywhere. It feels like you've been wrestling in Denmark, you've wrestled in Ireland, you've wrestled just pretty much all over Europe and the US. So I'm just wondering, is there anyone on your travels that you faced that you do want to revisit again in Progress for the Progress Women's World title in the future?
Ooh.
And again, I know that's a lot. Tally, because you go everywhere. So loaded question, but I have to ask because I'm curious myself.
I think, like when I look at the girls in Europe, like I'll definitely, any of them I'll take on. I think they deserve it because the girls in Europe, what you got to remember as well is they're actively trying to build a wrestling scene, not just the women's division. They're part of, trying to build up like the wrestling, like the maybe the knowledge, is it? Because I think a lot of places in Europe they're only just starting to come up now into like what wrestling is and getting onto the wrestling hype and stuff. So I think, or like really showing it now, like the shows in Europe are starting to sell out, and you see the posters and you're starting to think, God, these posters are looking good, these wrestlers are looking good, the shows are loud, they're packed and stuff like that. So I'd 100% like to see all of the girls in Europe that want to come for it. They're more than welcome. But I think if I had to say anything in particular, though, when I look at the States, like, I'd look at like Vixen or who else? Darius is too busy finishing the story, isn't he? So I can't go. But once he's finished that story, I'd like to open one up there. Who else did I see in the States? Billy Starks.
Mm-hmm. That's always a good one.
Yeah. Like I say, after Darius is finished finishing his story, I would go there as well. But yeah, anyone really. I'm one of them. Anyone and everyone. Bring them all over. Everyone for me.
Fighting champion as ever, Rhio. So, and just because I'm Irish, I have to ask someone who you have crossed paths with. I'm not sure if it's been more than once. Anita Vaughn. That's a match that personally I know. I watched your match with her in Body Slam. That was very fun, very physical. So, just thoughts on working with Anita, and she's moved to the UK now. So that could be that. So she's going to be following you around, I think, at some point. Her and Debbie.
Yeah, that's it. I can see it coming already. But no, her and Debbie, I've always said, are more than welcome at Progress. Like I've said time and time again, they need to be there. They deserve to be there, and they're two names that I think you could easily throw in a women's super strong style 16. So, but yeah, like Anita now moving to the UK, I think she's going to give a lot of women a run for the money, and that includes me. So you can't deny the talent, and the same with Debbie, like just phenomenal. But she's not taking my championship. Let's just clarify that. She can give me a run for my money, but she's not having it. So
that's fair. Got to stand on business. You got to do that. And you did mention it that the rest of Europe is kind of just building up scenes in general. But in countries where it's been more established, you found yourself in promotions that are largely women's only promotions. NJPW in Japan, and then Pro Wrestling Eve in the UK. And how is that for you to work in an all women's locker room when, of course, obviously Progress, you're the women's world champion, you're obviously the face of the women's division there, but just to be part of an all women's company, even if it's just for visits, if that makes sense.
It's nice. It's nice because you do build a sisterhood with a lot of the girls and stuff. So, and I feel like for me, really, obviously TJPW further afield, but still, like Eve's far from me. So I see girls that I might not see often. So that's nice. I get to see, like, even whether it's when it AV and stuff. She used to live in Ireland. I don't know if Debbie's going to move soon or not. I don't know if that's in her plans or whether she's happy. But I get to see them girls there, or I'll get to see like the London girls or the Midlands girls because they'd be all there. So that's nice, like to get to see your friends from afar, even though I get to see them at other shows, but I knew that I'd definitely see them there. So that's always nice. And then like at Tokyo Josh Pro, it's just making friends, what feels like the other side of the world.
Yeah.
That's nice as well. You make friends and it's just, it's so nice. It's so nice. And everyone seems to know that, we're in competition with each other, 100%. But at the same time, it's like a nice, like family constructive vibe. It's good. It's everyone's bringing everyone up. There's nobody dragging someone down to take to their position.
Yeah.
It's, if I'm not good enough, watch me come back next time and I will be good enough. And I think as long as that vibe's there, it's always good.
And just one more question about your progress, women's world title reign. Obviously, you've had a big first half of 2024. You've been everywhere, like I mentioned. Is there any particular goals that you have in mind for the second half of 2024 that you want to establish as the Progress Women's World Champion?
I'd like to go back out to the States again, definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's on the cards. I know Progress and Defy have merged or whatever's happening.
It's very confusing at times.
Yeah, it is. Something's happened with them. I don't know. They're partnerships, I don't know. But whatever's happened there, I'd like to, if there is a case of where we're a merger now with Defy, I'd like to do a champ versus champ situation with that. Yeah. I think the Invert Vixen, we're saying back and forth online that we'd like to do that, but she's apparently, I think she's just lost the championship. So I'm hoping she's going to get that back, and then hopefully we can run that back at some point, like run that actual thing, maybe one there, one here. And then if it ends up 1-1, then I don't know, we end the third one in somewhere. But I think America is probably it. I had like a taste of America for WrestleMania week, but I think I'd like to do a stint as well. I think going over for like a week or two, I don't really think would be me. I'd like to do like maybe a couple of months, but I have to see how viable that is. So yeah.
And somewhere that you've been popping up more and more lately is Rev Pro, and over the weekend you had a really fun match with Stephanie Vaquer at the Fantastica Mania event, and I just wanted to ask you how you're feeling after that. Do you want to face Stephanie again? Do you want to work with CML talent more? There's a lot of questions asked there.
Definitely. Do you know what? Like, it was really fun, but I'm not gonna lie to you. The past couple of days since then, I've been a bit like angry with myself because I know fine well that on my A game, as good as she is, like she is phenomenal. But I know on my A game that I'm unbeatable. Yeah. And the fact, like, I don't feel that I was on my A game that day, and I don't feel like I gave her everything I could. And that resulted in me not winning the New Japan Strong Women's Championship, which, I mean, it's purple, so it's made for me, really, let's be honest, But, like, that's definitely, I think that was a hard pill to swallow, is that, I mean, I was not the better woman of the day. That is always one that sucks to, to have to say out loud. But I think I know for a fact that when I am 100% mentally on my A game with that I could beat Stephanie. I know that. Like, there's no part of me. So I feel like I'm angry at myself because I feel like I let that championship slip through my fingers. It was, definitely not easy. You know what I mean? Like I say, again, facing her is no easy challenge, and there's a reason she is a triple champion. Mm-hmm. But I also think as well that part of my problem as well was I wasn't on my A game because I'm too busy chasing the Rev Pro one as well, because I was supposed to wrestle Danny Luna before that, but she had like a car broke down or something. So in the back of my head, I already knew that I'd thrown out the challenge for the 2nd of June. So as cool as Fantastica Mania was, and like Stephanie and stuff, I think in my head, in like the back of my mind was always, but I've got Danny Luna, and that's the one, because then that makes me the triple champion. If I beat Danny Luna next weekend, I am then the Rev Pro, ICW, and Progress
triple champ. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm the triple champ. So I think I'm so focused on that right now. Like, I'm trading everything for that, and I know that Danny Luna doesn't die, and she's jacked as well. So she's probably one of the most jacked people I've probably ever faced. So I know in my head I'm preparing for that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to be ready. I can't let that slip through my fingers, and then in the process of that, I've let the New Japan one slip through my fingers. So it's similar to what we were saying before with the question of like, would I like to go on like a Nina Samuels chase? See, this is where for me, I put so much into them that if I've focused too much on one, I don't want to lose the other, and that has literally just happened to me. So I think, I'd like to face Stephanie. I'd like to face the CMLL girls again as well. Anyway, but like I think my focus. Let me focus on the Rev Pro Championship. That's the one I'm going for next. That's the one I want. And then like I say, to be a triple champion, I mean, that's never been done by anyone. So I think I'll be a legitimate double world champion and undisputed British Women's Champion. So that is the main goal. But then after that, Stephanie Vaquer, then my focus is on her. And I know she's coming back in August as well. So don't worry, then I'll have enough time. I'll be re-prepared. Mind will be focused, set straight. And I'm hoping then that's it.
Could show up to the copper box and you could be the triple champion. You could be looking down at Stephanie like, now I'm ready. Now I'm fully focused. Yeah. So
triple champion versus triple champion, and someone's got to walk out with another.
Yeah. And so I do want to ask you about something. It hasn't come out yet, but I interviewed Mark Haskins yesterday, and as you know, Mark Haskins is a very, let's say, bitter man. But he had a lot to say about the Progress locker room and how when he confronted Kid Like Us a little while back, when he found himself just before going out, no one was in the locker room. He was very dismissive of the current generation of Progress wrestlers. And I'm just kind of wondering, do you have any response to Mark? I know you haven't heard exactly what he said, but just what I just told you that he said, I guess.
So, sorry, just repeat. What was he basically summarizing? What was he saying?
He was very dismissive of the next generation of Progress wrestlers, and he was saying how when he was at the end of the show, there was no one in the locker room, and back in his day, everyone always stayed to the end of the shows and everything like this. So he was very, like I said, dismissive of your generation and Kid Like Us's generation of Progress wrestlers. So I want to know if you have something to say about that, being the Progress Women's World Champion and being such an important part of the next generation.
I always think it's one of them for wrestlers to always judge like a current generation. Times change, things change. It's always going to happen, and there's a lot of people. I think wrestling fans are like that. Like, oh, wrestling's not what it used to be. Yeah, it's not. So get over it because there's nothing you can do. It's changed. It's going to change. In 20 years, it'll be different again. In another 20 years, it'll be different. So wrestling's always going to change. But in my eyes, like, I can look at a weekend full of shows, and sometimes Progress isn't my only show that weekend, So I'm not going to stay to the end if I don't need to. Sometimes, if I can go out an interval, like, don't get me wrong, I love interacting with the fans. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, I just disappear, that's it. Like, that is 100%. But if I've seen them before, or I can see them in the interval, and if I'm on before the interval, why should I stay to the end? Like, I've got, maybe I've got another show the next day. It's London, so I'm always having to get home. It takes me 4.5 hours to get home, if I'm lucky sometimes. So it's a long journey, and sometimes like a lot of us will get trains because driving in London is just hell. So my last train's at like 10 to 9. I haven't got time. Progress ain't finished until 9 o'clock sometimes. I need to get back to Euston Station, so I can't be waiting watching all these lot when it's not a point for me. And especially I think in my eyes personally as the women's champion, why do I gotta watch them? Like, they're not the ones coming for me. So like that, I'm not, I respect them now. I watch them on Progress on Demand or Progress Plus on Demand, whatever it is. Like, you know what I mean? I'm here to support people, but that doesn't concern me. I'm not missing my train to watch other people. Sorry. It's just not happening.
And just before we do finish up, Rhio, you've been absolutely fantastic. I do want to talk about something that I imagine is a bit of a weighted one for you. Obviously, Mad Kurt did pass away last year. You were part of Mad Kurt forever. You were a big part of that. And I just want to know if you have a fond memory of Kurt first, and second, what it meant to you to work that event and raise the money for Kurt.
I think one fun memory would never. I don't even think I could
Everyone
just
says
say
this.
one.
I should learn by now.
Interaction with Kurt was a fun memory just because of how he was. Like, he was the best class clown that you could ever wish to see on a show. Like, every day you saw him, he kind of reminded me of like, you know, like any dog lovers will understand what I'm going to say. Like, no matter what day you're having, you come home and your dog's just happy to see you, and they just make your day. You can have the worst day in the world, but you see them, and you within 2 minutes of being around the dog, you're like, oh, it's fine, everything's fine. I'm happy now, you know. And that Kurt was like that. Like, you could have had the worst travel day, or you maybe have had a worst week ever. You'd see Kurt and he'd do something to make you laugh, or he'd just cheer you up no end. He'd have some mad words to say that you just like, right, well, that just doesn't make sense. I don't know what you're talking about. But whether he disorientated you enough with what he's saying to just make you forget what you're fretting about. But he was just always one of those he was just funny. He was just naturally funny, and he made sure that he'd, like, you know, take the mick out of himself to cheer someone else up, and take the mick out of everybody else to cheer everybody else up as well, or cheer himself up, you know. And I think just when you just look at him and you just think, like, you used to see him go in the ring with people like Luke or Dan Maloney, and he'd be there chatting all sorts to their face and shoving them, and I thought, oh, come on, Kurt, they're going to kill you. Look at the size of them.
Poor lad,
And he would inevitably get, like, chopped until he can't, like, his chest was bleeding and whatever. But, yeah, like, I don't have any in particular. Like I say, every memory with Kurt was a fun one, but, yeah. And to do the show, like, I was going to be on it whether or not. There was no one stopping me being on that show, but to get, like, the message to say, you know, we've got this together and we really like you to be a part of it, then, just, honestly, it really, that was probably, if I could pick a show to be a part of, that was the one I wanted to do this year. Oh, because, like, there's nothing like it. And it was a show where you really, as much as we all showed our love for Kurt, and I hope he felt it, like, it was a gratitude moment as well of everyone around me was like, look, friendship and life is so precious in it. And, you know, I was lucky to be there with actually one of, like, my best mates as well. And it's one of them when you, like, you just realize, like, I don't ever want to have to do this for my mate, and I don't want to really, like, think of living without them, you know. Like, these are people you don't realize, I think, at the time, and maybe this is, like, where the gratitude comes in as well, is you don't realize with your best friends and things, like, how much you actually, you know, how much you need them in your life. Like, you know, you see them and you go, I'll see you at the weekend, or I'll see you on Wednesday, or whatever, whenever you meet up and stuff. And then just to think that would be a thing taken away from you, and you wouldn't be able to go for a coffee or go to the beach, or for me, like, have girls chats and stuff like that. Like, that would drive, like, that wouldn't do me any favors, because my girls, like, the circle I've got is small, and it's a very tight circle. It's an honoured circle, which sometimes I think, all right.
A little too honest sometimes.
Yeah, it can be, yeah. We think, God, it's a good job you're my best mate. You friggin' hurt my feelings. But it's a, you know, it is a strong circle, and I really couldn't imagine it. So it definitely brought a lot of gratitude, and I'll be forever grateful to be able to do that show and show, you know, hopefully show Kurt that he was so loved by everyone. So, and he had so much to offer. Whether it's dabbing in people's faces, you know, there's only so many people that dab at Minoru Suzuki in this.
And thank you so much, Rhio. You've been an absolute pleasure to chat with today. Just absolutely brilliant. But you did mention you do have the Progress Women's World Title match, the ladder match this weekend. You do have the Undisputed Women's British Championship with Danny Luna coming up. Is there anything else you want to tell people to come see you and where to follow you on social media and so on?
Oh, so I've got, like, I think Friday this week I've got one in Scotland called Scotty. So any of the Scottish people that are around, I think it would be easy, because it's like an hour and a half further than Glasgow. So because I'm usually in Glasgow for ICW, so it's even further. And then Saturday I'm in Belgium, so if anyone's in Belgium and wants to come along, that's for WrestleFest for Flemish Wrestling Force. So if anyone wants to, anyone from Belgium is free, come along. Then Monday, everyone in Progress, come on. You've got Shelton Benjamin, you know, you got Santana. Then obviously you've got the show stealer, the women's ladder match, Super Strong Style 16, you know.
Yeah.
And then going on that, I've got Saturday, I think I've got TNT in Liverpool. So people in the Northwest, it's a TNT weekender. And then Sunday, I've got Rev Pro with Danny Luna. So whether you're in London, Liverpool, Scotland, Belgium, there's more than enough for you to come and have a look at. And then my socials wise, Twitter it is Rhio 2020 and Instagram it's Rhio_wrestler.
And once again, guys, make sure to go follow Rhio. She is absolutely killing it right now. Progress Women's World Champion. She wants to be a triple champion, so make sure to keep up to date with that. We're on social media. But yeah, guys, if you are new to Fightful Overbooked, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you all for the next interview.
Brilliant. And thank you so much for having me today. I've had so much fun.
No problem, Rhio.